What up, though? It's your boy Los up in the building, trying to do good things for the women and the children. That's my call sign. Y'all know what it is. Hey, welcome to. Well, actually, this is the pre-episodes of BarTalk, and who better to do it with we call it bestie. The system that we in that seems to be, I would say, a plague. A plague. It's almost like it's so hard to keep us. They try to keep us backed up or locked into a system that's dependent on, wherever it is they taking us. What happened to you?
Yeah, well, listen, every time I try to do business and I have to wrestle, that means I got to fight whatever I got to do. If I got to go to get my license, you got to make the appointment online. And then I get there and I'm like, well, I'm here for my license appointment at 3:21. It's 3:19. She said you should have came 10 minutes earlier. What?
Wait, what?
What? Exactly.
You're supposed to be...
Yeah, 10 minutes early there.
To be, even though you're 2 minutes early.
Yeah, but she made it seem like she wasn't going to let me in. So I had to talk. But that happens. Then I start thinking about what hinders people. It's either procrastination or confusion. And both things, we all mature later, so it seemed like
You talking about men?
Yeah, I think people. I won't call a race of people. I think all people mature later. They don't be, women mature pretty quick. You know how they always say they more mature than us, and they be 18 and they be 16
well,
stuff like that.
I'm thinking women probably mature faster than young men, for the most part. But when we get older, bad boy, stop. It stopped right about 14. When from 0 to 14, they on top, and then for 14, they kind of fall back in the cut.
I think all men that mature quicker if they watch westerns.
Westerns.
Yeah, I was watching the western the other day, and Clint Eastwood was forgiven. He had to go do some business. He told a little 9-year-old boy, "I'll be gone 8 weeks." You got your 4-year-old sister here. If anything be wrong, go on to see Miss Sally. I said, 9 years old, left him on the ranch by himself? That's mature. Milk cows, feed your sister, and make sure nobody come. And he had a shotgun.
Oh my goodness.
So if you think about that. But anyway, the premise of what we're saying is that we have to do better. If I'm not a fly, no flag. I'm not nobody trying to advocate that people should do better. Trust me, if it's anything, I need my own flag and a group of people rooting for me because I got to do better. But today, it took 9 hours to do one thing. The lady said something, and I said, well, that's fixed. She said, it's not fixed yet. Every call I made didn't work. Every place I went didn't work. And come to realize, they can see something on the computer. What I'm talking about is Oakland County. Okay. She said she had an active warrant out for me from Highland Park. That's my business. I called Highland Park. They was like, no, sir, it was some things going on. We're going to take that off right now for you. And they almost apologized, which I'm pretty happy about. And they got it off. So when I turned back around.
Oakland County?
Yeah, Oakland County saw the warrant.
It's almost like it's almost like it's a system that they want to keep you locked into. For some reason, it's business. We are business. We are kind of like a production. We are a product inside of a system that they don't want to let you get out. Just say if there's no criminal, what I would say criminals, there's people that's in the system going to court, how much money can you actually make? Yeah. How much money can you make if there's nobody actually in court?
Hey, dealing with the law. You can't pay people's rearages in front of the court. Because you can't just go up there and say, how much is all the rearages? The people who don't have to be in court. They be like, sir, we won't do that. Like, y'all don't want the money for that?
Right. So is it about the money or is it about people being locked into a system?
Exactly. A billionaire can show up at the Penobscot building and say every case that don't have to be seen the judge or referee, I would like to pay his or her rearages. Then you can't do it.
They won't. Yeah, I mean,
you would think
that's. Yeah, they'll let you get out of jail though, but you're still locked into a system. What? They'll let you get out. Just say you can pay your bond.
You see my face?
They can pay you, and they can pay your thing. So, with your experience, now to see interactions with the system, what was probably the worst part that probably gave you the most grief while you were, dealing with the system?
Well, everybody know when I was younger, I was married young and I had 3 kids. and I got divorced. I didn't know nothing about divorce. And then I went to Friends of the Court. Didn't know nothing about Friends of the Court. So primarily, everybody knows this now. They could take every license you own willfully and take your job, and you have to pay. Only time you can't pay or not allowed or subjected to pay for this court is when you're incarcerated. So the first thing I went wrong is, I didn't pay, but when I pay, I have to bring the receipt that I paid to the same people who say they know I didn't pay.
Right, but they don't know when you paid, but they know when you didn't pay.
So if I showed up to court on Wednesday and I got to pay her money before I get there, I have to bring the receipt showing that I paid. Not when I get there, they're not going to check. The same computer that I paid. They won't even see the piece of paper say I paid them.
Dude, I went down there and I was dealing with, because I was caught up in the system myself. It almost seemed like they go harder on you than for child support than anything else. I lost a whole marriage behind paying that.
Me too.
That's what it was diabolical, man, the way that it was treated. But the thing about it, it seemed like you're treated as a criminal before you even start.
Yeah, I actually
before
paid.
you get into the system, they don't know your personality. They have no idea as soon as you get in, it's as if you robbed a bank. They treat you like you're a fucking criminal. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not what y'all trying to make me out to be.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, there's a little money issue, but with that money issue, it's almost like they are trained to treat you a certain way, like you're less than human.
Yeah, listen, I will tell you a story. And before we say the story, I'm not mad anymore. I don't care about that. Child support come on my check. I don't bother that. That don't bother me. I've been dealing with child support for 31 years. That's funny because you would think you wouldn't have to pay them for 31 years.
Right.
Remember I said that. I've been dealing with them for 30. That's not another set of kids. It's like the same group of kids. Remember I said that. Went to child support 2024, and they said that I had paid overage because in the state of Michigan, if your kid goes to college, you still are willfully having to pay some form of child support. My daughter went to an HBCU in South Carolina.
Right.
They had to pay her. But when she was in college, she got an EBT card, which college students get.
That don't make you responsible. You can't be responsible for it.
It doesn't
really?
make me, Then she got married. So after all that, I had to pay the 4 years while she was going to college, to pay my ex-wife the child support for her. And then I had to pay for her, but then I had to get papers saying that she was married. In the years that I had paid over, they had said, okay, you can get this money back. So the last child support hearing I went to just happened, which was 11 months ago, about me paying over. My ex-wife came on the screen and said, you didn't know I was in Detroit. Like, surprised, like I was in trouble. She told the judge where I was at, and they could go get me. The referee said, he doesn't have a warrant out for his arrest. What are we getting him for?
Got a question. Do you feel that the legal system is weaponized with the child support system as a means of control?
Yeah, well, yes.
If the woman may not even wanted to be with you, but she want to control you, and using the court system, like even if you're paying, I had somebody that had his child. He had his child. Once they detached from each other, the child was like, okay, mama ain't giving me the life that daddy got, so I'm gonna go ahead and fall in with him. But she still weaponized the system, and they believed her without asking. You got to prove that that she deserves to pay you, but all she had to do is just say it.
Well, right now,
all she has to do is just give an indication that you didn't do what she said she wanted to do, you to do it, and you have to pay.
Yeah, he should have taken the necessary
prove
steps.
It. You got to prove
but you legally,
innocence.
Yes,
but they don't have to prove guilt.
No, they're not guilty because.
No, I'm talking about as the plaintiff.
Yeah,
you don't have to prove that he's not doing it. All you got to do is just say it.
Probably the most demonic thing in the world is that you enter somebody else's in your business saying because you guys are not together.
Right.
It's actually your responsibility, the woman and the man, if you guys don't get along. Other than that, I don't know why you would have some people tell you how you should be governed because we're not together. That nobody understands that. Now I get it. When the Friends of the Court was formed, it was because dudes were having kids and moving families down the street.
Which it was a necessity.
But
right? So
who friends are they? I made a joke, and you guys are gonna hear this. I said 30 years ago, until bitches' cars start blowing up in the parking lot, they won't go down in front of the court. They're like, yeah, you infringe the car. Boom. I'm not gonna go down there no more. They're blowing up people's cars, and because I was mad, but now I know you have to do your due diligence, and this is so, it's so messed up. If you have a baby and you're not married, just happened to me. Everybody know I just had a baby, and you go to the front of the court. You guys should agree before y'all go there, but that don't happen when both parties are upset. Somebody got a problem.
Yeah, the anger dictates.
We can't say it's the
tone.
woman. Of course, we can say it's the woman, but we're not gonna say it's the woman because the person who filed probably got a problem saying that either legal I need you to pay or I want you to pay.
Right.
Now, here's a problem with people lying. That's the problem. They be lying. I just came back from the court. We agreed on the schedule. We agreed on custody. We agreed on everything, and they still asked the questions. Where the baby gonna be at? We asked them questions, and when it came back, he still came back with some form of money. Yeah. Neither one of us wanted to pay each other, but he offered it.
Yeah, it's what's funny is the more money that's being collected inside of the system is more money that's given by the government for collecting that money. So if you collect a certain amount of money, if it passes through, so you gather the money from you and give it to her. The money, they take their percentages, for active.
Yeah,
but
they do.
Based off of that, they receive money from the government for how much they collect, and like it's like a subsidy for the state for the court judicial system.
You know what? You absolutely right. When I went to jail for child support, I went to Dickerson. It was a felony warrant out for my arrest for not paying child support. And the guy at classification said, this is a civil matter. Your baby wasn't born on the state. You owe her through us. And he's like, you shouldn't be in jail. You should file suit. And nobody never got that. And I still did 9 days in prison.
Yeah.
And when I got out of prison, they was going to make me a felon.
Yeah, and then once you're in the system, I mean, it's almost like I got you. Looking at the 13th Amendment, do you know slavery is banned? Been banned forever, right?
Right.
Unless you're a felon, unless you're in prison. Do you know slavery is legal in prison? Legal. You can legally be made to pick cotton.
What is
as an inmate?
What the hell is the definition of slavery in prison?
No,
that's not funny.
The point is, the fact is, if you're looking up, on the 13th Amendment, it says that slavery is abolished unless as an inmate. So I can, as many people as if that we disproportionately incarcerated more than the other, the system is still at work. It just got a new face.
Yeah, because 85 years ago, every free white man was the police. Was the police?
Well, the militia, right? So the police was started by the militia that because they was using them to capture slaves. Right, to capture runaway slaves, and it morphed into the whole thing of into the police system. So if you started off as gathering, and that whole thing has been embedded in the culture of gathering up.
Y'all can't see my eyes behind these glasses, but we should ask white people, and I'm honest, no disrespect to white people.
Oh yeah, I got great friends.
White people.
That
what's their definition of slavery? Is it something that happened in the past? Or is slavery is anything you can do to incarcerate somebody and make them
work against their will? If you have to work against your will, it's a form of slavery. If I can make you do something that you don't want to do, if I can force you to do anything, that's basically a form of slavery.
Now I'm about to be real
some
clever.
Type of bondage.
Make sure you say it again. Would you say they make you do what?
What you don't want to do?
Yeah, make you do what you don't want to do.
Force you to do what you don't want to do. That's a form of bondage.
Can you file charges on slavery?
if they had admit that it's done, but it's
Oh
still
yeah,
not
my
even,
ex-wife
I'm
was
just
going
saying,
down. I did a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to do. I just thought about that. You're not clever.
like
You gotta be.
you made me be.
I didn't want to do that.
Like you made me be who I didn't want to be, but that's, but in doing, as far from a slavery standpoint, you first got to admit that you're wrong.
Oh,
a lot of the times they admit it. I don't even think think it's the money that, because there's a big uproar about not reprobations. Not
what you talking about when we get the money back?
Yeah, what's it called?
Reparations.
Reprobations.
You turn yourself on yourself. A lot of people they think they smart, but they really dumb.
So there's a big thing. There's a
big
big thing about reparations, and I don't think it's the money, because we give Israel money that we'll never see back. The money that we giving over to fight a war that we really don't have anything. They give us a reason to fight these wars.
We gonna need 8 more days about that stuff.
But the thing about it, and Israel has a lot of history, but I'm not sure what stronghold Israel has over America, with America, why we feel so indebted to protecting them and being and fighting inside of their wars. It's crazy. But they can give reparations to every black person, for probably for the foreseeable future. They can get each one of us $1 million over the one war that we fighting that we don't even want. But in doing so, you have to admit that you're wrong.
Yeah, because I wonder.
Nobody wants to be wrong. Do you know that the Jewish community never forget the Holocaust? But we have to forget, that was a long time ago. We have to forget slavery, even though America was built on the labor force. And I know we've heard this 1,000 times. The cotton was what catapulted America into the to the stratosphere as far as an economical superpower. Cotton did that, my people. Cotton catapulted America into the stratosphere as an economical superpower, not a superpower. Through the backs of slavery, for those who's actually picking cotton, and we got nothing. We got nothing for that. But if we got something, we could get the money and we'll probably spend it. Probably the first couple of weeks. Everybody have a Benz. We be done ran through that money. Well, a lot of us will. I know some people that'll run through it. But for the most part, as soon as we get
reparations, I'm buying shares in Verizon.
White people getting they towers is off the chain. Dog, I got my signals is bananas. But
hold on. Yeah. Now, you ever heard any cotton fields in Africa?
I don't even know if cotton can grow in Africa. I don't even think there's water in Africa.
It's not funny, but I didn't see a lot. Well, hold on. We have begun to see a lot what they haven't shown us in Africa. Mm-hmm. So it's cotton in Africa. Now, I know it got to be, because that's just not funny.
I'm pretty sure if you can grow cotton.
Who picking cotton in Africa?
It's like, not me.
That's not funny. That's not funny. So if you only get, hold on. Yeah. So, because they culturize the South through cotton, sugar cane in the West Indies and the South America. I get all that. But I never seen nobody talk about picking cotton in Africa. Not that it don't happen. My ignorance may be justified by thinking like, hey, there's some cotton in Africa picking. Hold on. Did they pick, it's not funny, did they pick the people who picked cotton in Africa? The cotton picking people. The people who picked cotton in Africa couldn't fight, so they enslaved them. Hey, now they ain't my ancestors. It's not funny. But if you got to think, they thought they was going on a rad to go get paid.
Yeah. They thought they was getting on the ship to become a better life.
Yeah, like
a better
you
life.
farmers.
And they were saying,
because you can't, a whip can't make you know how to pick cotton. It'll hurt.
Yeah. What's that? What is that thing? It's a docking station. A friend of mine was telling me about. I think not in Ghana. Where they dock.
The Senegal in West Africa.
It's called.
It's not the Ivory Coast.
I remember it when I remember it, but there's a lot of people who knew what was happening.
Yeah, a lot of people
jumped off into the sharks. They said they'd rather die than become a slave in America. It's but some people thinking that it's going to be better because it was impoverished, in Africa. So what are we going to do if there's some people that's sharing with us? And matter of fact, I don't know if they was painting a picture. I can't tell you how much of Roots was actually true.
Oh, the movie Roots. Suck it easy, bro.
The movie Roots. I have no idea
how
much
lineage.
of that was actually true. It was a movie and it was part of our history.
You got 6'9" black. You know what? I'm gonna shut up because that's
it was saying they helped us. Black people help black people become slaves.
Yeah, they said that they enemies, but all they hear say is I don't want to say it until I know.
We can't say that,
Yeah, because I would really like to know. Even though I've read it, I just don't want to say it on camera because a lot of us got our education from Hidden Colors. So I know when I first saw the first Hidden Colors, that was kind of eye opening. I did not know anything about anything what he was saying. That guy Tariq and those guys opened my eyes about the Moors and the black people, and when I read, my further understanding is that I had a hard time thinking that those boats brought us over here. But hey, they say they did.
Well, my thoughts is they say we're indigenous to America. They said black people are actually indigenous to America, even with the Indians. They said a lot of us was here.
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They said that.
You just think they
had a path from the River Jordan.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work to be traveling to bring all of these people over here.
1,200 people in a boat and don't move them, and they boo-boo. I'm using the word boo-boo. And urinate on each other, and some of them died. Now, I never made a joke about that because I don't know, or I just can't justify it. I can't imagine. It happened. Mm-hmm. But you can't put my 5-year-old in my trunk and ride it to Atlanta.
No.
Dead.
We'll be, if we find out that we're
Can you ride in the trunk in Atlanta in 110 degrees?
No.
No, just think about it. I mean, not the trunk, but when you pull a lever and you jump out.
Yeah.
You put yourself in 1981 Delta, you can stretch out, just lay out in the trunk. But the 11 hours, you can go in the trunk. You probably make it.
Yeah, so
but 8 weeks in that trunk.
Yeah, that's diabolical. You know what I'm saying?
And then somebody up under you.
Some people, they say some people jump off of the
urinate. How they jump off?
They say they jump off of the ships and they jump in there. But anyway, but bringing that back, we could. That's a rabbit hole we could go down and be in trouble for the next.
Multiple things. Like we're gonna make sure that every time we talk, the facts are gonna be here. The people that say the facts ain't the facts, and then the factual people. So now we talk about Africa, now Israel, now.
Well, we jumping over topics, but the system, the whole topic of this discussion was the system that we're in, we have today as far as the police, the government, and how we are, I wouldn't say victims of sorts, but, they got us locked into a system.
And we're going to have to say we mean us.
That we are a product. We are actually a product of America. I believe somebody said that they actually take out loans on us. I'm not sure about what that's about, but they say we are a resource to America. People are a product and a place that we live in because we're going to be paying taxes. Matter of fact, we're not paying taxes; they taking taxes.
That $417,000 I paid in front of the court, somebody got.
Yeah, somebody get paid. But the thing about it, you are a resource to a money. So every kid that's being born, actually the climate is getting messed up because of the fact that people are having less and less kids because men and women aren't being together anymore the way that they used to.
It's hard. If a woman have a kid, she want one. That's enough for her.
Well,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
They said they was going to take away our money for retirement for our when we get older.
Yeah.
So the money is getting. Say they're spending our Social Security money, and I said, okay, we're paying into Social Security right now for the people that are that's been in there, the older people. So I'm saying there's no way that you can actually
catch up.
There's no way that they can actually not pay the people because if they did, then we would have to stop paying.
Yeah, I don't supposed to be using profanity because it's but another level I be on. But I'm gonna say this joke, and this is the truth. Like you ever heard a lot of people say they don't jack off? Like you talk to men.
Not me. All the time.
And people be like, oh, that's masturbation. And it's always.
It gives you a better quality of sperm.
And plus it's a muscle. You're supposed to work it out. But It's always one dude somewhere saying, "Oh, I don't jack off. I get plenty of." And see, I can't say that word, and I don't want to cuss, but you don't say this word. And he say he don't. You know, he like, I don't. And then it's another dude. Well, you gotta do that. You know, you ain't gotta be whacking on yourself. You don't get none.
On your body, huh?
And I just tell these two dudes, you know, the difference between me jacking off and you jacking off is when you done, your hands smell like shit. Y'all take it easy, okay?
All right, we out. This is Boy Lowe's. I'm up in the building trying to do good things for the women and children. That's my call sign.
And remember, I am not talking about autism.
Yeah, we are playing.
We playing,
We're
trust me.
messing around.
We love everybody, and the Lord do too.
Everybody.